G'day folks, and welcome back to the channel for part number 2 of my Blademaster playthrough with Stabitha. So last episode we got about halfway through Act 1. I have been and banked all of my components and such, and now we're going to run around and do a little bit of conversation here. So Barnabas has... we've killed the Slith for him. So he's going to give us an inventory bag and a bunch of reputation, so we now have extra inventory space to fill up with rubbish. And we could probably leave Bourbon alone. Let's get back into it. So the flooded passage was kind of where I stopped. And we need to get through here. So at the end of this is the other boss I mentioned at the end of the last episode that could potentially be your first introduction to Sunder. And so we're going to have to fight him. These guys really, really hurt, don't they? Pretty sure that's poison. Whatever it is, it hurts. So we want to move more or less top right in this area. There is some loot hidden in the walls here, but I think it's probably a little early for me to care. We have a Savage Totem. Definitely could do the Savage Totem at this point. I think we'd probably be okay. Although I said that about the totem in the Aqueduct as well, and it didn't really end super well. Definitely need to try to remember to use Shadow Strike as damage a little more often. There we go. Okay, Lorcan, what do you got for me? A Poisoned Tarnished Razor of the Elements. That is a small upgrade. So I definitely could swap that out, and I think I will. I don't currently have a damage component, so I wonder if this will drop one. I am fully prepared to run away if this goes south, by the way. So let's just see how it goes. This is definitely bad. Okay, yeah, we're leaving. This is the guy, or one of the guys who throws nets. We're just not fighting that. It's not worth the risk. Call me a coward in the comments. I know half of you have already started writing it out, but I'll be the coward who lives. Also not going to stand in the middle of all that nonsense. Okay, we've hit level 13. Level 15 is kind of the sweet spot for this character. We'll be making a few changes at that point, which are going to be pretty good. Are you an upgrade for me? If I can get the mouse to do what I want. Definitely not. Merciless Greaves of the Fox. Definitely could be good. Ideally, I want run speed on my boots, but can't always get run speed on your boots. That 10 Aether resistance on my current boots is kind of tempting, but just everything about these is pretty good as well. So we'll go with that. I am still looking for regeneration items. The amulet's probably fine, belt's probably fine. Metals can start dropping, if not now, then soon, for sure. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. You need to die, and you know what? Let's kill all your friends too. Okay, I picked up a Chipped Claw there. Chipped Claw is going to give me physical damage, so I could definitely put that on. Yeah, we'll chuck that on there. It does also give you a skill here, Slam, which is, I guess, worth using. Damning it with faint praise there. It's definitely not amazing, but, you know, every little bit counts, right? Okay, Blood Seal could be good. Got some new green boots to have a look at. Percentage Spirit, you know what? I kind of don't care. That's fine. I really want run speed on the boots. I really, really want run speed on the boots. A ring with actual added damage instead of percentage increase is pretty good. Chaos Res, offensive ability. That's something to keep, at least for a little while. I'm not promising I'm going to use it, but it's a definite maybe. Should probably keep that for the Aether Res, if nothing else. Alright. The other thing I looked at between episodes is I need 159 cunning to wear the swords in 2 levels. So we're going to have to get some additional cunning. I think a few more points in the bar. We should be, yeah, we should be fine. Alright, so as I was mentioning, this is the other boss that could potentially be your introduction to Sunder. And I kind of halfway expect to almost have him dead before he sunders. And the great thing about this boss is he has more or less no follow-up to the actual sunder. So he hits decently hard occasionally. I think it's probably his next attack that's going to sunder. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to tank it this time. And it's going to be fine. So there we go. Sundered, took a little bit of damage. Just regenerate straight through it. Sunder's gone, and he hasn't really hit me very hard. So there you go. Less regen, less armor. No, that's rubbish. Okay, Shambler's Heart is actually a pretty good amulet. The increased armor and then... I was going to say elemental resistance, but that fire and cold is painful. It's not a bad amulet. I don't think I'm going to use it in this case, though. Let's have a look at the one-handed weapons here. No, none of them are any good. Alright, that's fine. Let's get out of here. So the next mission is to rescue the blacksmith. Like I mentioned, we have to side with Angrim. Or is it Angron? I can never remember. One of them's the blacksmith, anyway. Angrim, I think. Superior of Decay, no. Alright, so we talked to Duncan here. If you get to where I'm going with Angrim, and he's not there, it's because you didn't talk to Duncan. So you do need to actually talk to him to get the quest, otherwise you will not find the blacksmith, which is really frustrating when you do it. I've done it a few times, it's really annoying. Rare chest piece, slightly more armor, 4 different resistances. It's probably worth using. So we run over here to the right. There is another totem here. Again, it's a savage totem. Don't think we're really super tanky on a Nightblade just yet. So it is a risk to activate it. I might activate it after I've cleared the area and rescued Angrim. See how we go. I definitely like the XP. I like the fact that they usually will drop you a blue item or 3, and all of that is great, but it's not worth dying for. I really don't want to have a little section in the middle of this episode where I say, okay, well, I'm dead now, so I'll be back when I've leveled another one. Okay, so Duncan needs a hammer to help the refugees. You could join us and side with Angrim. Now, he's going to sort off back to town. And next time we talk to him, we will have a whole bunch of crafting options available from him. All right, let's just see what this spawns, and yeah, we can probably do this. Probably. A Blackthorn reflective. I don't love the fact that he's reflecting, but I think we'll be fine. Maledictus here. I don't think he does enough damage to actually overcome my passive regeneration. So there we go. Huge spike of XP. There's my blue boots. We've got a freezing resistance, or what is it called? Where are we? Freeze resist. There we go. Not cold resist. We don't take less damage from cold, but we get frozen for less time. Aggressive of Heroism on the boots is good resistances. Increased armor is nice. I think I'm going to use those. Although having said that, no, these have movement speed. They also have Aether resistance. We're going to go with that. Where can I get a whole bunch of cunning from in one level, though? That's a problem for later on. Okay, Aether resistance on an amulet. Clerics of the Wolf. Of the Wolf is physique and cunning there. I was going to say it's all 3 stats, but it's not. I think it's Eagle that gives you all of them. That's a gun, we don't care. Belt's fine. I kind of thought that might have actually been an upgrade there. That's fine. Right, so level 14. I think 10 is probably okay here. I think it's okay. Yeah, let's get stats. I need like 100 and... I think it's 159 to use the swords. So, one more level. We'll have the stats we need. That's a lot of physique. What do we got here? This is physique and cunning. and much better armor. How's my regen? Not even 200. Alright, we'll leave it for now. I definitely want more regen, but I think it'll be okay. Level 15, we're going to get a lot more offensive damage as well, because the swords are going to have damage procs on them. And it's all going to be amazing. I do need to get into this cave. There is a devotion point in there, which means I get... actually, whoa. Whoa, that hurt. That was the spiders spitting their little spikes at me. That definitely hurt. I think we can maybe avoid the spiders a little bit. Alright, we're going in the back door of the cave. I think I'm going to kill a few of these Aether Crystals, just because I am going to be doing a little bit of respecking on my devotion points. Also, I did just see Dancing Shadows on a pair of pants. So let's just clear these guys out, and I'll show you why that's so good. So, Dancing Shadows is 6% chance to avoid melee attacks. These pants also happen to have a bunch of other stuff that's really cool. 4 resistances is hard to say no to, although cold resistance does not count. That is not a thing. 12% cold res, I don't care. The rest of this is really good. These gloves, I like. They're defensively very, very good. That's a lot of health as well. Can I... I really like the attack speed on the other ones. I think I have to use them though. Tempest of Attack, wow, that's really good too. Stop giving me good stuff. Okay, devotion point. Let's go spend that in the lizards. We got some more health. We got some health regeneration, increased healing effects, and apparently I forgot to spend one of my points. So let's chuck that in green. I head towards the fox here. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to complete that in Act 1, although we could go into early Act 2. There is a devotion point right at the door, pretty much to Act 2. So definitely could go and collect that, then go and kill Warden Krieg, but I think we'll be fine without the leech. We've got plenty of regen. It should be fine. Was there one more crystal down here? Am I crazy? I am, but there's definitely no crystal there. That's fine. I think we've killed most of this stuff. It is pretty good XP though. They are made out of XP, so should realistically poke them until the XP falls out. Yeah, that'll do. There's a few stragglers left. I feel like, yeah, there was one more crystal. Okay, cool. And more XP. Alright, that'll do. Let's head on out. There is another door to this cave as well, so depending on where your roads are blocked, you may need to use the front door rather than this is the back door. I prefer to go in this way because you can just walk down, grab the shrine, and be on your way. Next stop is we have to go and rescue Steven Seagal, not get nuked to death by the spitting spiders. But yeah, when you're ready, there we go. We do indeed need to rescue Steven Seagal, as I said, and he is going to give us some XP and not a whole lot else, if I'm being honest. You can just leave him here, and nothing really changes. He has some different dialogue options when you eventually meet him the second time. Depending on if you rescued him in Act 1 or not, he'll say different things, but he's still going to be a decent part of the storyline regardless, so it doesn't really matter. Heading up here into the Birch Village, we are going to have to fight for the Rift Gate here, which is annoying. You're going to get 3 waves here, similar to the Whitemire Rift that we had to fight for earlier. We're going to get 3 waves. The third wave is going to have between 0 and 3 heroes in it. Generally speaking, on Veteran, you're going to get more of them. So, last time I did this... Oh, there we go. Got 2 this time. I think last time I did this, I got 0, actually, on Veteran. But generally speaking, if you're playing Veteran, you get more heroes here. It's not a hard and fast rule. You definitely can get 0 here. Got all these extra buttons that I'm not pushing. I'm terrible at it. Okay. Pick these up. Rift complete. Let's grab the next quest item as well, since it's right here. And then I'm going to go back to town, because we have a little bit of crafting to do. Daddy needs a new stabby stick. Or I guess it's Mummy, isn't it? Tabitha needs it. Or Stabitha. Not necessarily me. Okay. Yeah, I think we just vendor all this. Looking to collect a whole bunch of bits, because we are going to be doing some pretty serious crafting at the end of Act 1. You know what? I'll take Cunning anyway. So this little section here, this has got some really good stuff in it. We are playing a piercing build, so getting Lethal Assault here, while we are using it, it's useful. But it's cold and acid, which is not ideal. Getting a point in Shadow Dance, really, really good. Just Shadow Dance in general is one of the best defensive layers that the Nightblade has. Knight's Chill is amazing. Hammermaster's Quick Cut. This will double our chance to have a weapon pull skill go off on our auto attacks, and I think we have to start putting points in Knight's Chill. This is going to give our aura, if we go over here to the dummies, if we just stand near stuff now, it takes damage. I mean, I know I actually hit this one, but there we go. You can see it's just refreshing that cold dot. So anything that stands near us takes damage now, which is pretty good. I do have Angrim here, and the thing with Angrim is, like I mentioned, he has the honed longsword. Now I can make 3 of these. So my recommendation at this point, they are 3,000 bits each, they are a bunch of scrap each. I'm just going to make 2 of these, and I don't care what the affixes are, we're going to roll with it. Casting speed. Lovely. Perfect. Love it. And of spines is actually pretty good, because that is a piercing affix. But celerity, that's 6% casting speed, which does literally nothing for me. So, not great. The component we want for these is the Vicious Spikes. Now, I don't have enough serrated spikes to make 2 of these, so I'm just going to make 1 for now. That's going to give us the Empowered Impaling Weapons aura. If I had any friends, RIP, if I had any friends, they would also get this buff. So if we go stand next to one of the guards will get the buff. The guards should get the buff. Is this not an aura? Am I making this up? That's a self buff. Okay, never mind. I'm lying. There you go. All the other ones are auras. Unless one of them isn't. I'm pretty sure they're all auras. Anyway, this one's not. Okay, so Doreni here. This is the book that I grabbed out of that house just north of the rift. We can go ahead and talk to him. Now, I don't care about getting into the hidden area, so I'm just going to kill him. He is... If we don't kill him now, he's going to show up in sort of mid-Act 2, and we'll have to kill him then. So I'm just going to do it now. I'll get my XP from Old Mate here. Pick up the next quest. Yep. Riveting conversation, I'm sure. And then Steven Seagal here, or Olgrim. You know what? I don't want to hear your stories. I'll take the XP. That's kind of all I need. Okay, so we are now doing pretty much exclusively piercing damage now. Plus a little bit of acid. So if I put my weapon attack on the right click, I'll be able to see here. Yep, a little bit of acid. Acid from that ring. And all of the rest of my damage is converted over to piercing. That is because we're using these swords. So most piercing damage swords now have 100% armor piercing. You don't need the devotion point anymore to convert your physical. Piercing conversion is also a little bit different compared to other conversions. So for example, on this chilled steel here, you've got 10% physical damage converted to cold damage. All the stuff that's written like that, some sort of damage converted to some other sort of damage, all of it is applied at once at the same time. Unless it's specifically to a skill, all of this sort of thing where it's just global conversion, all of it's applied at once, and you can only convert damage one time. So if you've got 10% fizz to cold, and then you also happen to have another item that does cold to lightning, you can't convert your physical to cold and then to lightning. So you get one conversion, that's it. Same with the piercing, except the piercing here, if you notice underneath the physical damage on the sword, it's got 100% armor piercing after all your other conversions take place. Piercing damage is applied at the end. So if you're converting physical damage to anything, it's going to be reducing your piercing damage. So go ahead and check any items you may have. It's likely going to be components, if anything, at this point. You're very unlikely to have an item other than maybe weapons or something that will be converting your damage. But yeah, piercing conversion happens after everything else. And also, it still has the one conversion only rule. So any damage you have converted to physical is staying as physical. All right. With that said and out of the way, Blood of Chthon here from Killing Durrani. This is probably the best you're going to get out of him. And we can be on our way. Actually, no, I want my point back. Devotion points are, like I said, basically your third class. And so you do want to be a little greedy with them. Let's go ahead and jump in here. They do require an Aether Crystal to respec, so you can't go too hog wild with it, but it's still pretty good. We're going to put points in the Fox here, more stats, more bleeding damage, more stats again, and bleeding resistance, and then maybe I'll go get that first devotion point from Act 2, but I think we'll just kill the Warden. Like I said, we've got tons of regeneration. Okay, what do you need? I'll get the fabric. If you don't pick up this quest, the fabric is still there. You just won't have the stars on your map. All right, let's head out to the docks. So from Borich Village, we want to head sort of northeast-ish, or sorry, northwest-ish. Yeah, northwest-ish. Maybe just north. Just want to head up this way. Here we go. Oh, I do like me some Aether Crystals. I'm also going to be respeccing a little bit. The Fox is not permanent. We don't need it. We will be taking the Ghoul at a later point. It's going to be, I think, our third or fourth devotion is going to be the Ghoul. I've gone the wrong way. And the Ghoul is going to handle our defensive stuff for a little while. We're going to be piling on the flat piercing damage from other devotions. So this is Forsaken Aether Warped. You know what? I didn't really enjoy the last Savage one I did, so maybe we just leave that. Probably it'd be fine. Forsaken. Aether Warped is not too bad. But I don't think it's worth the potential risk there. Okay, you'll also notice that we have additional little swirlies around us now. So we have Amarasta's Blade Burst, which is really nice. And then each of our swords has a 10% chance to have another swirly go off. So anything standing near us is potentially going to have a very bad day. So you can see now the stars on the map, so I know that this weathered chest is my first fabric. If you don't have the quest, there are only set locations basically will have the fabric in them. All of the chests that have the fabric in them, they are all weathered chests, but not all weathered chests will have your fabric. Once you've done this quest a few times, you kind of just know where they are, where they can be, and you just go collect them. Pretty much every time you trigger Amarastas as well, and it hits a handful of targets. Each hit counts as a separate attack for the purposes of triggering the Ring of Steel on your weapons. So you can pretty much guarantee, once you hit sort of 4 or 5 different targets, you're more or less going to get the weapons to trigger as well. Alright, let's head across the river here. We've got another devotion point coming up here, which is going to be very nice. Potentially, you may have to go for a little bit of a stroll. I'll see if this is blocked for me. It is excellent, so I can show you what I mean. We've got some tires that are on fire here. Somehow hasn't spread to the rest of the building that's made out of wood, but we'll just ignore that. And actually, I've got the worst setup here. So this way is blocked, so you would come out here and go down the road, but oh no, this is blocked as well. So you want to come in through here, you can go through that way or this way, whichever you prefer. And there is a little hatch there that you can go downstairs. And this place is actually fairly dangerous. These spiders definitely hitting harder than last time I remember being attacked by them. I don't remember having this much issues, or this many issues, if I can English properly, with spiders and ranged attackers in general. They are quite painful. Vampiric of attack speed, that is a very nice roll. It would have been great if it had been on a different weapon. Okay, don't really need to grab all this stuff, but you know what, I need the bits actually, so I take that back. Definitely need to be selling stuff. Is this a piercing weapon? It is. That's fine, I'm not going to use it anyway. We'll be sticking with these honed longswords probably until sort of mid-20s, at which point it may be worth dropping the piercing stuff just so as we get an up-to-date weapon, because these will start falling off. However, once we get to Homestead, we're going to kill a whole bunch of bugs and get ourselves some better stabby sticks, and they will be our weapons all the way to the end. Pretty much until we put the Belgothian set on, and even then, we may end up using one anyway. Okay, so we come out here, out the back, I guess we'll call it, into the Warden's house. You can see here, residence of Warden Krieg. We're not going there yet, however, because we have quest over here and also another devotion shrine. And I like devotion shrines, so we're going to go and collect that. Probably going a little bit too far there. I don't really need to clear the entire world to do a shrine fight. These fights usually are a little bit tame compared to totems. There's level 16, which is great. I am tempted to just dump these points straight away into Shadow Dance because I love Shadow Dance. It's... I was about to say it's my favorite Nightblade skill, but I don't know if that's actually true. It's a bit sad, really, if it is true. Your favorite Nightblade skill is a passive buff on a heal. Okay. It is really good, though. Chance to just avoid melee and projectile attacks is quite good. Okay. I'm gonna max out Lethal Assault, I think. So while we are using Amaras's Blade Burst, getting more damage is definitely a good thing, even if it is the wrong type. We don't have a huge amount of shred yet, so we aren't reducing enemy resistances by much, just 1 point. Yeah, so 3%, and that also does cold and poison anyway, so definitely can't hurt to get some more damage. Okay, so we've rescued the... where is it? Yeah, we've rescued the apprentice for the inventor, and got a few more points here. I do want more cunning, but I also do want more physique. We are decent on health, but not amazing, so we'll get some more of that. And this house can be a little bit rippy. There's a lot of stuff that's going to come pouring down those stairs as soon as I kind of move in here a little bit. They also in all of the side rooms, so I think I'll be fine. But you definitely can be a little bit rippy in here. Make sure you get the 3 lore notes. There's one up there as well that I already got. And then, just for fun, let's go ahead and spin the camera, because there's also a whole bunch of shelves along here. These ones don't count, but these ones can sometimes, not now because I'm talking about it, of course, you can sometimes get devotion, not devotion points, that would be absolutely broken. You can sometimes get lore notes out of those. Alright, let's not fight these idiots, let's just go inside. Alright, welcome to the Warden's Cellar. Let's get some XP here for free, and Blade Ward's Courage. Percentage increased fizz damage, I don't care about. Offensive and defensive ability is kind of okay, and the proc requires a block, which we can't do, so that'll be fine. Blood Seal, though, this is tempting. Flat bleeding damage is not amazing, but it is free damage. I think I'll leave it for now, though. Alright, so welcome to the Warden's Cellar. This is technically like the 4th or 5th final area, but it's more or less the second final area. It's just the 2 second final areas are made up of a bunch of... That's absolutely terrifying, all those little spitters. Please die. Please die. There we go. Yeah, the last 2 sort of major areas are made up of a bunch of little areas with their own names, so technically it's not the last area. It's not even the second last area, but it kind of is. Okay, one thing to note about this area, though, is that it has the totem with the highest kill count of any single entity in the entire game. I'm 99% confident to say that. Can't prove it, but I would be very surprised if it isn't true that this totem has killed more players than anything else in the entire game. Because it's early enough that a lot of people have seen it, and it's dangerous enough that it's going to kill a lot of people. So that's going to hurt when they all die. I kind of staggered it, and it was fine. Yeah, so definitely, if you see the totem in here, if you're playing softcore, give it a shot. And enjoy your walk back. It's not completely terrifying, but if you're playing hardcore, I'd say probably avoid it. I am kind of talking it up a little bit, but it is definitely the single most killingest entity in the entire game. I would put money on that. It is pretty good XP, though. It is ancient, so you'll get good loot out of it. You'll get good XP out of it. If you don't get killed. Which, yeah, getting killed definitely would ruin your whole day. Alright, so this is the first half of the last area, potentially. So underground transit, that's kind of tickling a little bit. You go away. Underground transit is just to get you to the Warden's Laboratory, which is, again, technically not the last area. There are areas off to the side, but the Warden's Laboratory is where we're going to find the Warden, so that's fun. Let's go this way. And don't stand in the poison. This is surprisingly deadly. You can die very quickly in those. Each of the bugs dies and puts his own poison on the ground, and it all stacks. So when you kill a whole bunch of them in one go like that, like I did, just there, you could be standing in like 3 or 4 different pools of acid at the same time, and you'll be taking full damage from all of them. I say as I stand in a whole bunch of acid. Okay, Guardsman's helmet. I am almost certainly not wearing that until after I kill Krieg. If you guys want to stop spitting at me, that would be great. Guardsman's helmet is a pretty good find early on. It's got really good armor on it. Pretty good health and 1 resistance. It's pretty good. You don't want to see the hammer or the defender because that's a weapon and a shield. But the chest piece, the shoulders, and the helmet are pretty good for this point in the game. Let's get some more physique. Do we want physique? Or cunning? Maybe we'll go with physique. I'm a little low on health. Let's get some more damage on the go. Alright, and this is going to be our final devotion point for Act 1. So I should now have 7. But nice gloves there. Are they any good, actually? They are amazing. And as much as I really like the resistances on these salvage gloves, the extra damage and the skill points on those other ones is too good. Okay, 2 devotion points to spend here, so we'll take the bleeding damage, which I could have had for a while now. And we'll take the cunning as well. Now, in a perfect world, I should be able to swap that, but I can't, so this is what we are going to have for Act 1. As I mentioned, you could poke your head into Act 2 and just grab the very first shrine if you really, really desperately wanted to get the lifesteal before Krieg, but I think we'll be fine. Definitely want to be hitting all of these crystals. It's probably even worth doing an extra run through here before we start on Act 2 just to get a few more crystals. because as I say in every series of this game that I play through, you cannot have enough Aether Crystals. It is not possible. However many Aether Crystals you have, it's not enough, you need more. So many zombies. Alright, pick these up. I do still need bits. We are going to be doing a decent bit of crafting pretty soon. I might even do it before Krieg. Probably not the worst idea I've ever had. Just run through here, get all the crystals. Once again, you cannot possibly have enough Aether Crystals. Even when you're not planning on respecking your devotions at any point, which I am, even then, you need more. You will be crafting components for Aether Resistance, and various other components as well also use a ton of them, so we need more. It should be something like 14 in this area. So I may have had some extras in my inventory. What do we got? I've only got 12. 13. Did I pick up a 2-slot crystal? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so potentially I missed one, or one of them didn't spawn, or I'm just wrong. Could be that too. Alright, hidden laboratory. We are into the Warden's lab. And let's actually go do a little bit of crafting. I'm going to do all of the crafting before we finish Act 1, but I think we can just do it now. Alright, we'll vendor all of this stuff. I think... You know what? I don't think I'm going to use these. The drop in armor is too high. Bloodsteel can go as well. I like the regen more than the resist there. And Warchief's Glory. If I can find regen on a metal, I'll use it. Although, it's not looking good, is it? Nope, no regen. That is really good. I definitely want regen, but that amount of stats is also quite good. Okay, well, no regen metal for me, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. What else we got for mending? That's 29 health regeneration on a single item. And I'm sitting at 250. You know what? That's enough. That's enough. I don't need to buy any more. Alright, let's go do some crafting. So I want a couple of things here. I want scaled hides. So I want 2 of these, plus armor on the item slot you put it on, and also increase your armor absorption. 2 of these will get your armor absorption up to 98%. So let's go ahead and chuck those on. 98%, and we now have a pretty good amount of armor on our chest and legs. So that's good. I also want ward stones. I want 2 of these. Actually, I just want the 1 for now, because I don't have a metal to put the other one on. But ward stones is run speed, elemental, and bleeding resistance. Warden Krieg does do bleeding damage, so could be good to have that. Aether resistance, I don't have... I mean, I could put a salt on here, purified salt. That would get me 20%, but I think I don't care enough about that. Vicious spikes, I'm still too short. I definitely could buy 2 of these. I definitely should buy 2 of those. It is a ton of extra damage. But I want to make sure I have the rest of this stuff first. The other one is, if you type in SIL, you make 1 resilient plating, you make 1 silk swatch, goes on your shoulders. That's going to give you piercing and bleeding resistance. We can't get run speed just yet. I can get an anti-venom salve though. So anti-venom salve on the belt. I do already have a scavenge plating there, so I'll have to go and rip that off. Or I could put this on. I think that's fine. I want to change those emeralds out for corpse dust, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, only the 1. That's definitely unfortunate. And at level 20, I will indeed be able to wear this lovely, shiny new fortified doublet, or doublet, depending on what you want to call it. Yeah, I'd love to get that back and finish this, but it's not going to happen. Okay, we can talk to Dalit and get, or Dale. We can talk to Dalit and get some XP here. And we have to... You know what? I'm more likely to keep the Slith Ring, so keep the item. And I'm pretty likely to just be throwing Veloth's ring out. So that's fine. Anti-venom, I think I banked the anti-venom. Hope I banked the anti-venom. I'm going to be quite upset if I sold it by accident. Okay, I think I just banked it though, so we'll go grab that. Yep, there it is. Beautiful. So, anti-venom salve there, health regen, love to see it. Flat armor on a source that is not a piece of armor that can get hit. So that's 24 armor across my entire character. And then we get 20% poison and acid as well. So we are looking pretty good for resistances. Any metal would allow me to get some more elemental and bleed from another wardstone there. But otherwise, I think we're looking pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're looking good. I definitely do want to get a medal with regeneration on it. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, so maybe we just go with what we have, and it'll be fine. What am I up to for regen now? 300. It's plenty. I'm more worried about getting one shot due to having no hit points at this point. Okay, so hidden laboratory. There is a ton of lore notes through here. There is also a ton of undead. Now, you can fight all this stuff, you can run past it, you don't actually have to fight all this. Pretty much any area in the game, if you don't want to fight it, you can just walk straight through it. And they'll try and attack you, and they'll hit you, and you'll just walk past it, it'll be fine. Okay, Gethran the Betrayer. Probably got a few too many friends there, actually. We can thin the horde a little bit. Pretty sure he's going to summon more friends while we're fighting him, but yeah, he definitely does. And we are now despised by the Ethereals. I kind of don't think I care. We can stand in his fire, though. He also had Mexican for dinner. Let's just stand in that, and it doesn't matter. Alright, don't need to fight all of that stuff. There's nothing along here that really matters, except, I mean, they're all made out of XP, right? I'm going to be 18, maybe even close to 19 before we kill the Warden. So that'll be fine. There's 18. Just going to bring Lethal Assault up. The extra flat damage is really, really good for anything that does weapon damage, so I'm pretty sure the procs on the weapons do have a weapon damage component. We have a look there, Ring of Steel, 15%. Okay, so I get 15% of that on everything hit by the proc, which is not nothing. It's not as good as I thought it was. I actually thought it was more like 50%, but apparently that's my brain remembering things wrong. Don't forget the last of the lore notes. And this part could be fun. There's a lot of crystals, so you definitely want to kill the crystals, because they will summon more friends. This guy here is probably going to be summoning friends as well. And so we can just work our way around here. Oh, there's Zabrant. Okay, Zabrant is kind of like the boss of this area. And he is going to be summoning friends as well. But we can take out most of this stuff and then double back for Zabrant. Okay, that eyeball dying from dot damage is pretty good. Aldenar the Undying, he's going to come back to life when you kill him. Allegedly. Maybe I already killed him and didn't notice before, but he should have came back to life. There we go. Alright, everybody's dead here. Thunderstruck of Ruin I kind of don't care about. Give me XP. Alright, and I do want to just duck back to town just one last time. See if I can get a regeneration medal. There we go, Mystic of Mending. Do we have anything better? Mystic of the Wild. Ranger's Ribbon would also be okay if we're going to want to go crafting. Mystic of Mending. So that was 19 regeneration. And this one is, where are you? That's 25. Okay, let's grab that. We'll make a Wardstone, chuck on that that last one there. There we go. If you stay in melee range, he kind of won't do the bleeding attacks, but they're going to tickle if they hit me, so that's good. Right. So Warden Krieg is the boss of Act 1, and he is entirely predictable. I think I've got enough crafted components here. Let's see if we can get a Vicious Spikes. No. Alright, they're not for sale. That's fine. Take Cunning up. Don't have any more skill points to spend. Alright, let's go. So Warden Krieg, his first form is a joke. His second form has 3 major attacks. The first one is a Stomp. He'll stomp on the ground. It'll explode in an 1/8 damage Nova. That's usually the big damage that convinces people to run away, and then he kills them with either the Aether Wave, which shoots out a line, or he does the bleeding bubbles. Not bubbles. Kind of like shoots darts at you in a cone, I guess, which does do a decent amount of damage. Piercing damage and bleeding, but also I think some physical. So he'll do the Stomp, then he'll shoot the Wave at you, which will do Aether damage, stun you, slow you down a bit. Then he'll shoot you with darts, basically. But we kind of just hold left click and win. So Aether resistance of around 40%, combined with, what are we up to? 350 health regenerated a second. If he doesn't one-shot me, he literally cannot kill me. Look at that, I'm full health again before he does his next attack. And it just does not matter. So first form is a bit of a joke. Don't stand in the goop. And second form, one thing I will say is, okay, he can't actually kill me, but here comes the Stomp. Half of my health bar is gone, and he does the Wave, and I'm still not dead. I'm full health again. If you don't have the kind of regen that I do, you can avoid all of his attacks by just literally running around in a circle. So you want to keep about this much range, and just run sideways to where he is, like a line between you and him. You run this way. And he literally can't hurt you. So if you're ever playing a character that's maybe a little bit squishier, and you can't just stand in his face and not die, then you can just run in circles, and you'll take basically no damage. So we can quite literally just stand here and left-click him down. That's kind of the benefit of all that regen I've been stacking in Act 1. Once he dies, I care a lot less about regen. Or technically, once I get the next devotion point and I get some lifesteal, I care a lot less about regen. But regen in Act 1 is basically a cheat code. And down he goes. Never at any risk of being killed. There's some new boots. Explorer set is really, really good. You are almost certainly not going to get these, but you absolutely want these as soon as you hit level 15. So 14% movement speed, 5% bonus XP, and who cares about the rest? That alone is really, really good. The weapon here is a physical damage combined with acid, so I don't care about that. Warden's Shield, potentially really good for non-dual wielding characters. We are dual wielding, so no good for us. And the Warden's Judgment, pretty good pet weapon. Okay. Tainted Brain Matter. You will get one of those every single time, or the first time you kill him, you will get one from this chest. This is your first relic. We'll just ignore the fact that I have 2. I think he may have dropped one, or it might have been one of the guys out the front. We'll just pretend I only have 1. You need one of these to craft your first relic, and so we are... Ooh. Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair at all. Those are really good gloves. I mean, I think the only thing they're missing is attack speed. Alright, that's fine, that's fine. There we go. Some XP on the bookshelf. Lovely. And I doubt I'm going to get anything out of this. A few more bits. Okay. So we'll go through a little bit of a checklist for the end of Act 1. I do have to kill Barros and Hagra, but I kind of don't care. And I'm going to vendor the rest of this. So I want a medal, ideally with some regen, but it doesn't really matter after Warden Krieg. Same with the amulet here. This is not a great amulet, but hey, the resist is kind of okay. Impenetrable of Mending would also be pretty good. Act 2, you definitely want some piercing resistance, so I am tempted by that, but I don't have a huge amount of bits. Right, so things you definitely want. One, you want the XP from turning this in. Yep, I'll speak to him. Lovely. Hi, Monet. Lovely. Cool. Components-wise, crafting-wise. 2 weapons. Now, I happen to have one that is just a honed longsword, and it's kind of pants otherwise. It's not very good. Casting speed is useless, so this is basically the same as if I had got a honed longsword. Full stop. So I could craft another one of these, but before I do that, things you want to make sure on. One, you want 1 or 2 scaled hides. Now I say 1 or 2 because going into Act 2, you need piercing resistance. The Cronley's gang has a bunch of pistols they'll shoot you with. That's piercing damage. Going into the undead area especially, they have a whole bunch of archers, basically, and they do very, very large amounts of piercing damage. They also do cold and vitality, but mostly piercing resistance for a lot of Act 2. Aether Res is good to have, and fire is also quite good to have. So, components you need: 1 Silk Swatch. If you have 1 and you're not up to at least like 40% piercing resist, you want a second one and you put it on your pants and you just have a little bit less armor absorption and it'll just kind of be fine. If you're above sort of 40-ish% on piercing with just 1 Silk Swatch, which you should be, but it's not guaranteed, then you go with 2 Scaled Hides. Anti-Venom Salve on your belt, 2 Wardstones, 1 on your medal, 1 on your amulet, something on your rings. Now, it doesn't have to be polished emerald. In fact, it should be corpse dust if you have them. But if you don't have them, polished emerald is fine, and we'll be changing these for soul shards later on. And then on your weapons, you want 2 vicious spikes, 1 on each. Now, I don't have a second one, and I don't have the serrated spikes to make it. However, you can buy them. So if you have all of those other components, because these are not as important, but if you have those other components, no, I'm not gonna waste it. If you have the other components, you can buy serrated spikes, and it'll be fine. You do also need 5 scrap in order to repair the bridge. If you don't have enough serrated spikes, you can go through a rift gate somewhere else. And then here's the cheat. You got to run around the rift gate 3 times and then run the other way. So you have to go clockwise first and then 3 times anti-clockwise and then run through it again. And all of that was a lie. You just got to rift somewhere else and wait for about 10 seconds. And then you'll get new stuff to buy. So there we go. I think I had one in the bank. You definitely don't have to do any of that running around, but I needed to have some sort of waffle to fill the space. I'm 1 short. That is quite unfortunate. I might have to go and run around another rift here. Nope, saved. So yeah, if you just rift somewhere else and then come back, all of the merchants will be reset and you will have new stuff to buy, which, yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, vicious spikes. There we go. Now I need 5 scrap, and I've only got 4. And this is something that I probably should have mentioned before we did a whole bunch of crafting. But you will need 5 scrap to repair the bridge. And if you don't have 5 scrap, you're going to have to go run around a rift gate again. Or, and this could be really bad, if you don't have 5 scrap and you don't have money to buy 5 scrap, exit the menu, come back in, go kill the warden again. That'll get you some more either scrap or money to buy it. But yes, you do need 5. So there's my 5. And there is one more thing to craft that I had forgotten about, and that is Equilibrium. So Equilibrium gives you elemental resistance, movement speed, 20 to spirit, and some elemental damage. The Tranquility proc there can save your life. But yeah, you need one Tainted Brain Matter. You get exactly one from killing the Warden the first time in his chest. You could take the other ones if you prefer them. We won't be using Equilibrium super long, so if you don't have the bits for it, or you don't have something else, I'm pretty sure you're going to have everything else, but if for some reason you don't have it, don't stress about it. It'll be fine. Once you've killed Krieg, you don't need Milton's Cask anymore, so if you have something better, go ahead and chuck it on. And that's going to be the end of Act 1. So the scrap we needed was to repair this bridge. We're looking pretty good. Regen is going to have dropped a little bit, probably, but 306 scrap, because of course it is. All right, anyway, I'm going to go and reset the merchants and repair that bridge. This is, however, going to be the end of part number 2, so I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye for now.